Natalia Romanoff was born in the year 1984 in the Soviet Union, aka the USSR, and lived for 39 years in the MCU timeline. Today, we pay tribute to not only my favorite Marvel and MCU female heroine, but rather my favorite female heroine in pop culture in general, that is none other than Natasha Romanoff, aka the Black Widow.
Before I was an Avenger, before I got this family, I made mistakes choosing between what the world wants you to be and who you are.
Spoilers from Black Widow if you haven't seen it yet, but as seen in that movie, she lived with a group of undercover Russian agents pretending to be a family consisting of Alexei, aka the Red Guardian, who is the father figure of the family, Melina, who played the role of the mother, and then finally Yelena, her sister. And she was then forced to go into the Red Room for a second time in her young life when the family had to leave their home in Ohio and spend the rest of her childhood, teenage life and early adulthood in the Red Room under the control of Dreykov, who is the head of the Red Room. Her time in the Red Room was hell for her. They sterilized her so that she can't ever have kids, or more specifically how she put it in Age of Ultron,
the one thing that might matter more than a mission makes everything easier, even killing.
She was sent on missions where she had to do terrible things to so many people throughout the years, and this put a lot of quote-unquote red in her ledger that she's been trying to wipe out ever since breaking free from the Red Room. And speaking of the word mission, during a mission for the Red Room, she was being hunted by Clint Barton, aka Hawkeye, who was actually ordered to kill her, but instead he made a different call and decided to spare her life and recruit her as a SHIELD agent instead, where she grew up to be a level 7 and one of, if not the best hand-to-hand combatant and spy agent in the organization's history. The two then go on to become best friends over the years, where Nat was even close to Clint's family. And again, spoilers for Black Widow if you haven't seen the movie yet, because we're going to talk about heavy spoilers right now. But in that movie, it was revealed that as her last assessment to officially pass her trials in becoming a SHIELD agent, she had to kill the head of the Red Room, Dreykov, and in order to do so, she gave the order to bomb Dreykov's home, in which also had his daughter present too. And for the longest time, she not only thought that she had killed Dreykov, but also killed his daughter Antonia as well. But as seen in the Black Widow movie, both of them survived the explosion. More on that later on in the video. And from that point on, she was a full-on SHIELD agent, and one of her more memorable missions was when she first encountered the Winter Soldier. And as she said in Captain America the Winter Soldier, she was tasked to escort a nuclear engineer out of Iran, but Winter Soldier managed to locate them and shoot a bullet right through her to get to him, and this ultimately led to his demise. He ultimately died, and she was left with a permanent scar to remind her of the event.
Bye-bye bikinis.
In the MCU, Natasha made her first appearance in Iron Man 2 when she was deep undercover on the orders of Nick Fury to keep tabs on Tony Stark and assess whether or not he was fit for Project Avengers. And throughout the majority of this movie, she was under the alias Natalie Rushman. She was officially promoted from a level 7 SHIELD agent to an OG Avenger when she joined Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, Hulk and her best friend Hawkeye in defeating Loki and the Chitauri in the infamous Battle of New York. And after the Battle of New York, she returned to her duties as a SHIELD agent in Captain America the Winter Soldier, where she learned that Hydra has been infiltrated by SHIELD since Zola was recruited way back when. She joined Captain America and Falcon to take down Hydra within SHIELD and stop them from killing millions and having complete control over the Earth. She exposed Hydra's secrets by releasing them online, but in doing so, she also revealed all of her history online as well, and the government were even threatening to arrest her, but she walked away like a boss. It's revealed in an Avengers Age of Ultron comic tie-in that she spends the time in between Winter Soldier and Age of Ultron helping the Avengers taking down the other Hydra facilities around the world, and during this time she becomes the antidote to Hulk's raid issues by saying the famous lines,
Hey, big guy. Sun's getting real low.
and the two begin to share a romantic relationship in Age of Ultron, which ultimately ends up going nowhere because of Bruce's fear that the existence of Hulk means he can't have a normal life, and Hulk making the decision to fly away on the Quinjet was the final nail in the coffin with that potential relationship. Natasha then joins Captain America as the only OG Avenger still part of the team at the end of Age of Ultron to train the new Avengers consisting of Wanda, Vision, Falcon and War Machine. We see the team in action for the first time at the start of Civil War when Nat helped the team to take out Crossbones and his men, but this caused an explosion that killed people, leading to the Sokovia Accords, where Avengers have to now operate under the government authority. And this led to the team being divided and a fight broke out between Team Cap and Team Iron Man. And initially Black Widow was on Team Iron Man and she had signed the Sokovia Accords because she believed that the Avengers needed to win back the trust of the government and the public, but then ultimately turned her back on Team Iron Man during the final moments of the airport battle when she helped Captain America and Bucky Barnes escape, as she felt that her team played it wrong and she knew Steve wasn't going to stop. So she let them go by holding off Black Panther and stopping him from getting to Bucky. And this led Black Panther to snitch to General Ross on Black Widow, and this put a target on her back which forced her to go on the run and into hiding. We saw this play out in the Black Widow movie where she successfully lured General Ross and his men into a trap so that she could buy herself enough time to escape. She spent the next 2 weeks hiding out in a caravan where her friend Rick Mason helped her out with supplies, but when she was driving her car, she was ambushed by Taskmaster and the two started to brawl it out. They started to have a fight. And she finds out during this fight that he's not actually after her, but rather a box that she had just put in her trunk. So she was able to get what's inside the box before Taskmaster kicked her off a bridge and into the river. And the thing that was inside the box is an antidote to the Red Room mind control that was sent to her by her sister Yelena. So she goes to her sister's apartment to find out what it was and why it was sent to her. And Yelena reveals that Dreykov is still alive and didn't actually die in the explosion that we talked about earlier in the video. And once Natasha finally finds out that Dreykov is alive, she sets out on a mission alongside her sister to go after Dreykov. And to do so, she needs to break out her fake father, Alexei, aka the Red Guardian, who is of course in prison. And we find out he's been in prison for quite a while because his partner, who is of course the head of the Red Room, Dreykov, turned his back on him. But once Natasha and Yelena successfully breaks Alexei out of prison, they find out that Alexei actually doesn't know the location of Dreykov, but Alexei gives an alternative solution because he reveals that Melina, who is working very closely with Alexei, knows exactly where Dreykov is. So they go to Melina's apartment and they're finally reunited again once more after 21 years apart. And we learn here that Natasha on the outside feels that their family was fake and wasn't real. And this angers Yelena as the family was real to her. But later on, after the climax, Nat finally accepts the family and reveals to Yelena that it was real to her too. And due to Melina already alerting Dreykov, the family is captured by Taskmaster and Dreykov's men, and then this leads to them being taken to Dreykov's hideout, where Natasha is once again face to face with the man who caused her so much pain. During this encounter, Natasha learns the identity of Taskmaster, and it's none other than Dreykov's daughter Antonia, the very same Antonia she thought she had killed when she gave the order to blow up the building. Although it's important to note that Antonia, just like the rest of the Red Room, is under the control of Dreykov. So Black Widow proceeds and succeeds in taking down Dreykov with the help of her family and freeing the Red Room of their mind control. But before she could celebrate the win with her family, General Ross and his men show up once again to try and arrest her. So she parts ways with her family to go on the run again, and 2 weeks later she changes her hair to blonde and has now been gifted a new plane by her friend Rick. She states that she's going to use this plane to now try and break her Avengers friends out of prison, and we see this is successful at the end of Civil War. And we next see her in Avengers Infinity War, where she tries to help the Avengers stop Thanos and the Blackwater from collecting the Infinity Stones and wiping out half of all life, in which obviously they fail. 5 years later, we learn she's in charge of Avengers HQ and commanding the surviving members of the team to maintain control around what's left of the world. This is a Nat that just looks tired, worn out, and just fed up with everything. She just looks like she's barely keeping it together. And we see this is evidence when she breaks down in tears when Rhodey reveals to her that Clint Barton, who's of course her best friend, is going around killing people in an attempt to get some sort of justice for his family's death. When the team learns about a chance to bring everyone back via time travel, she goes to get Clint and bring him back to the team to help save everybody. And the team is assembled once again after being divided for so long, and they're split up into mini teams to collect the Infinity Stones throughout time. Nat and Clint were sent to Vormir to collect the Soul Stone, and when they arrive, they're greeted by the Red Skull, who informs them that in order to get the Soul Stone, one of them must sacrifice themselves. And after some back and forth between the two, it was Nat who ultimately sacrificed herself to get the Soul Stone, thus saving her best friend's life so that he can have a life with his family if they bring everybody back.
Let me go. It's okay.
She wanted to make sure she did something worthy enough to wipe out all that red in her ledger. She wanted to spill her own blood for those she spilled herself. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the life, the whole life of Natasha Romanoff, aka the Black Widow, in the MCU. I'm very sad to see the character go. She's my favourite female hero, not just in Marvel, not just in the MCU, but in pop culture in general. I really love the character. I love how Scarlett Johansson portrays the character. She literally embodies Black Widow. Like, I'm going to miss this character on my screen every year or however, or every so often. And I just hope that a variation of the character, whether in the form of a multiverse, because we have a multiverse now, so there's still hope that we could see her again somewhere down the line in the form of a multiverse version, and I hope it's still played by Scarlett Johansson. Fingers crossed. But we have to move on, and nothing lasts forever, as she says in the Avengers Age of Ultron trailer. And also let me know what you thought about the Black Widow movie, because for me, I really enjoyed it. I will give it somewhere between an solid 8 or an 8.5. It's in between that, one of those two, one or the other. I'm not sure which side I lean on, but yeah, one of those two. I really enjoyed it. My only real problem with the movie is that Taskmaster was such a letdown, and yeah, but they handled the family dynamics very well. I'm very excited to see Yelena. For me, Yelena is a very likable character. I really enjoyed her in this film, and of course Natasha, played by Scarlett Johansson, knocked it out of the park as usual. And the comedy relief of this film was of course David Harbour's Alexei, aka the Red Guardian, which I adored. He was very funny. I've seen this film 3 times in as much as 3 days, by the way. This film came out on Wednesday for us in the UK. I saw it on the opening day, and then I saw it on the Friday, and then I saw it again on the Saturday. 3 times I've seen this film already, and I'm gonna see it many more times. And I just love this film. But yeah, what did you guys think of the film? Share your thoughts down below in the comments. If you like this video, give this video a thumbs up, share the video with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you guys later for more videos.
One thing's for sure. I'm done running from my past.